Hey, how's it going, guys? So we finished Philadelphia regionals. I have with me
Zack, Lasage, what's up?
And what place did you get?
So I came 44th place, so top 64 prizing.
Awesome. And what were you running today?
So I was running a Garb Shrines.
Awesome. We're gonna get into the deck and we're gonna see the exact 60 he was playing.
Cool. Okay. I'm good to go?
Yeah.
So we have 4 Buzzwoles here. So Buzzwole is the main attacker of the deck. It has a Sledgehammer attack. Sledgehammer is 30 damage, which isn't really normally a lot, but in this deck we have damage modifiers in the form of Shine of Punishments, Choice Bands, Professor Kukui, Diancie Prism Star, and Beast Energy Prism Star. So it can do a lot more damage than just 30. Additionally, if your opponent's at 4 prize cards, you can do a lot more damage. It does an additional 90. So that's really the main attacker that we have in this deck. You just want to kind of attack your opponent's Pokemon over and over again. Now, in order to do well against the metagame, we have a side attacker. So it's Garbodor, it evolves from Trubbish, has Trashalanche. So the goal of our deck, beyond Shrine of Punishments, is to punish our opponent for playing items in the discard pile. A lot of fighting Pokemon are weak to Psychic type, so it's a really good attacker.
So for the mirror, it's good to have the Trashalanche to counteract the Buzzwole, and also versus Ray, if they overextend, you can punish them for overextending.
Yeah, 100%. It's also really good because there's a lot of decks that just play a lot. On average nowadays, most decks play around 20 item cards. So you could be doing upwards of 400 damage per game, just per Garbodor, so a lot of damage there. So we have Slugma and Macargo. Macargo allows you to search out any card you want with Smooth Over and put it on top of the deck. And you can search it out with Oranguru, just drawing it with Instruct. There's other cards that you can use to draw, so it allows you to get all the crazy combinations off.
Nice.
Then there's Diancie Prism Star, and Diancie Prism Star, as stated before, is really good for powering up your Buzzwole's attacks. So we'll get into the items and supporters and stadiums in this deck. So as we were going on, it's a Shrine deck. Shrine's a new card from Celestial Storm, and so it's gonna damage GX Pokemon and EX Pokemon, which are good and expanded as well, in between turns by putting 1 damage counter on each of them. This deck doesn't play any EX or GX Pokemon, so any time of deck that we're going to be playing against, so what are some decks that we have in format that feature GX?
So that'll be Rayquaza, that'll be Bulu that snuck in there, also Metagross that also snuck in there, Zoroark.
And even like Tapu Lele GX. Tapu Lele GX is featured in most decks in Standard as well. Mm-hmm. So really a lot of cards. We can go on, list out every single, most GXs do end up becoming a deck at some point.
Right.
So we have a really weird supporter line, so 2 Cynthias, and we want to focus on cards that allow us to draw from the top of our deck to use with our Macargo from before. So we have 4 Lilies, which will allow us to draw. Really great on the first turn of the game, more so than any other turn. We have 4 Professor Kukui, so that's going to allow us to do the extra 20 damage, but in this deck it allows us to draw those 2 cards, which is very important. Mm-hmm. Those are really good. Cynthias, sometimes you just have a big hand, you need to shuffle it up so you can draw more cards off of Lilies, or maybe even draw into a Professor Kukui. So we have Guzma as well as the last of our supporter line. We want to bring up our opponent's Pokemon when we want to knock them out.
To punish them for having something on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe they have a Pokemon that Shrine of Punishment is damaged for a few turns. You want to bring that Pokemon up and knock it out. Beyond that, we have a few other cards. So we have Acrobikes. We have 3 of those. Those do allow us to draw from the top of our deck to work with Macargo. We got a single switch. We do have a lot of Pokemon with heavier retreat costs. Most of the Pokemon in this deck have 2 retreat costs or 3 retreat costs. Want to switch it away.
And that's easy to get with Smooth Over from the Macargo.
Any card that you have that's like a 1-of like Switch or Rescue Stretcher, or even like you normally search out for Choice Band, but you can grab it with Smooth Over. So really good cards there. We have Ultra Balls and Nest Balls, which are quickly becoming staples, as if they weren't already good last format, but they're very good this format. Just because we don't have Bridget in format, we want to search out our cards when we want to search them out. Nest Ball, search out our basics. Ultra Ball, you want to grab that Macargo as soon as possible, or maybe that Trashalanche depending on the matchup. Mm-hmm. Now this is a deck that plays a very limited amount of energy, so when you're playing it, you got to be careful. We have a Beast Energy Prism Star, which you want to use on your Buzzwole. So it's going to allow you to do an extra 30 damage. So you got to think of it, the Sledgehammer 30 damage, 60 damage. Throw a Choice Band on there, 90 damage. Diancie Prism Star, 110. Shrine of Punishment's 120. For a single energy, you could do a lot of damage to that GX Pokemon power up for multiple turns. Then we have 4 Rainbows. With this deck playing Fighting and Psychic Pokemon, it's hard to choose one over the other. Rainbow allows you to have the flexibility to have both. The 10 damage often doesn't matter, and it's the best card that allows you to do it in this specific deck.
Right.
We have Fightings and a single Psychic. These really just round out our energies, and that's what we have going on in our deck. We need to attack with our Trash Lance sometimes, maybe a little bit more than what the 4 Rainbows could offer, so we threw in a Psychic energy there. The 4 Fighting energies is really just for Buzzwole to be attacking each and every turn.
Nice. Cool. Perfect. So that was the deck profile right there. Alright guys, so that was the deck right there. What was one of your toughest matches of the weekend?
My toughest match. I'd have to say the stream match that I played against Sylveon. So the reason why it was a tough match is, well, it was kind of weird because they're like, okay, Zach, you're going to go on stream, and everyone, when you go on stream, you're like, okay, cool, a bunch of people are going to be watching, like thousands of viewers. But that's cool. You kind of get a little bit of the prestige there as a player, so you like it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I found out my opponent flips over an Eevee, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's Espeon Garb, maybe it's Gardevoir. Nope, just Sylveon.
Just straight Sylveon control.
I actually found out, I think he mulliganed or something like that. He played, I saw Team Skullgrind, and I'm like, no, Gardevoir wouldn't play that. They want to see those on field. So it was a Sylveon deck. Playing through the game, I was going with a strategy to knock out his Sylveons as quick as possible. And I actually took 3 prize cards. I took a quick prize card on an Eevee on the bench. I took a prize card on Sylveon active. Now the game was getting really close, and I thought I was personally going to bring it to a tie because I didn't see a win in sight. Mm-hmm. I also didn't think my opponent saw a win in sight. He seemed to think so, but I don't know if it was due to inexperience or nervous on stream. But I'm just trying to think about the match. It's been a long weekend here at Philly.
Right.
So it got to a point where my opponent used a Sylveon, a normal Sylveon, not GX, with Wink Wink. It was wild, and I look at the card and I'm like, what does this card do?
What does this do?
And I read it, and it's Wink Wink, and he's looking through my hand, discards a supporter. It's Cynthia. It's the last Cynthia I have in my deck. He thought I ran 4. I only ran 2, as we just saw. So it's crazy. It's gone. I have no way. I'm about to deck out my hand's like 30 cards. We out there. We're scared. So somewhere along the game, my opponent, he takes a card and he's just like, looks at it and he's like, almost looks at it while I'm using Smooth Over. I think he was trying to get into his turns quicker to try to close out the game so he could deck me out game 1 and then win game 2.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey man, it's my turn still. And that's fine, he didn't look at the card. A few turns later, maybe like 5-6 turns later, and I'm almost decking out, he looks like, picks up a card during my turn. And I don't, by all means, if you're watching this, I don't think my opponent was cheating. I think he had a bit of nerves going into that game.
Yeah, plus the pressure of streaming, plus like after...
Well, it's also Smooth Over. My turns are just like, I'm going to look through my hands, double check to see if there's anything I can do, look at my board, see if anything's changed. I'm looking for the amount of items he's played. Maybe I can use Choice Band, Kukui, knock out one of his Pokemon. Nothing's really changing in this game. So I'm just going to use Smooth Over, and when I use Smooth Over, he might be thinking that that's an attack.
Yeah.
Because that's how I've been ending my turn, so he jumped into it. The judge caught it, and they're just like, look, we're going to have to stop this game. He ended up getting a double prize card penalty. That put me at 1 prize remaining, leaving his Sylveon on the field. So just the normal Sylveon, the one with Wink Wink.
Yeah.
So I was able to Guzma it up. He also played a judge on me when I had 30 cards in my hand after he discarded the Cynthia. So I think he was looking for more resources because he was running out. But overall, it was a crazy game that I didn't think I was going to pull out. It was like almost like a sign from above.
Yeah, right. Damn, that's a really intense match.
Well, I also didn't think that Sylveon was a deck anymore. I think a lot of players nowadays are like, okay, it lost Team Rocket's Handiwork. It lost Puzzle.
It lost a lot of things, but it still has Max Potion and stuff like that, so you can kind of play with it, but...
Yeah, no, it's crazy. You didn't think it was going to be a deck, but it threw me off my game for sure. I did not prepare against that deck.
Right. Cool. What was one of your highlights of the weekend? One of your top plays, your MVP plays?
So I did a lot of plays that involved me using Smooth Over, Acrobike, Guzma. That was probably my favorite combination throughout the weekend. I did a lot of things where I could just like use Ultra Ball, get my hand down. So a lot of it was just like control of my hand,
the numbers
sequencing.
Game.
I did a few like crazy knockouts out of nowhere with Shrine of Punishments, Choice Bands, Professor Kukui, like setting up these things over multiple turns with Macargo and kind of planning out my knockouts 2-3 turns in advance. There was also some crazy plays that I made, just like so my testing partner Bodie Robinson actually was talking about using Stomp Off earlier in the day. So I was using Stomp Off in some of my rounds to discard my opponent's top of their deck.
Yeah.
Just in hopes to get an item, and if it wasn't an item, then we were hoping to get another good card that they could use.
Like a key point, like a DCE or supporter, or something that they needed to kind of like progress the game.
Yeah, actually, one of my games against, I think it was Main Ahmed, I discarded the top of his deck, got a Beast Ring in there. So while the Beast Ring, he doesn't really want to play with it because I have a Trash Lance and he was playing a Buzzwole deck as well. It was in there. It got discarded from the Stomp Off, which allowed me to do all my damage because he doesn't want to play items in that matchup.
Right. Cool. All right. And then, are you going to any other regionals moving forward?
So I'm actually on the top 16 chase. I did it all of last year, so I finished top 16 North America. So as of right now, I have every single regional and international championship booked in the North American circuit. So that includes, what do we have coming up? We have Memphis,
Portland,
Virginia. Then we have Sao Paulo. I booked Anaheim, and that's what I have booked up until now. I'm going to continuously go to the events, so including Australia, Germany, more events across the US and Canada, and probably playing a little bit more in Latin America this season.
Cool, perfect. Since you're going to be in Memphis, there will be kind of a shift of the meta because we will be getting a new set, which is Dragon Majesty.
Oh, Dragon Majesty, yeah, the special promo set.
Yeah. It's kind of like Shining Legends, but without Zolwark, which was broken.
Yeah. You want to know what? I think there's a lot of cool cards coming out in that set, so I don't know if it's going to change the metagame. The metagame is weird right now. To anyone who's watching it, it's like we had a format that was Rayquaza Vico Volts, and that was doing really well. And then Brazil happened and everyone started playing the Shrine of Punishment decks, like Shrine shot up, way up. And then people started to experiment a lot. So there was the Shining Lugias that shot up. But now it's just like, there's single prizes in the metagame. So looking at it over, I kind of like the Feraligatr out of the set. I might just be a Feraligatr fanboy. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it could be really good.
Cool. And moving forward for Memphis, will you be playing the same 60 or are you going to switch it up?
So there's a couple cards that I might want to change out of the deck. Maybe adding a Field Blower, a second Rescue Stretcher, Singleton line of Weavile. I think Weavile could be really good, punish my opponent for playing abilities.
Right.
This deck, Shrine of Punishment, kind of spells the name of the deck. You want to punish your opponent. Weavile can punish depending on if there's abilities in the format or not. So it could be really good.
Cool. Perfect. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to share the video with anybody that wants to know what topped at the Philadelphia Regionals. With that said, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.